7 October's here with another episode of Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue, the home of hip hop and horror. And today we have a dope guest. I've been kind of following his journey for a minute. He is Rafael Padilla Saludado, aka RKEYZZ. He's a talk box artist here from San Diego. I myself is the city I represent as well, and it's been really dope seeing his journey, and I just wanted to have him on the podcast. It's been a minute that I've been wanting to reach out, and so it finally happened. So thank you, RKEYZZ, for being on here. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you following and being part of the journey. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, no, it's really inspiring, like seeing you. And like I said, I was like, I need to hit him up before like he blows up, and then it's like I'm not gonna have time for people anymore. So I was like, I need to like reach out now. And it's just really dope seeing somebody like from my city, and like I've seen like the hard work that you been putting out, and it's like coming to fruition even more now. So we'll get started really quick too, just to kind of for those people that might not know like about your journey. Where did you fall in love like with music? I know you credit, like from what I've seen past interviews of yours, is like you credit your dad, may he rest in peace, and you also credit Zap and Roger for the love of
Yeah.
like the talk box. But where did like the love for music, and then kind of how it evolved to where you're at now musically?
Yeah. So how it evolved, my love for music. First of all, I like all type of music. I just love music overall. Um, but more to the music that I love to this day is the Zapp and Roger music. When my dad introduced it to me when I was a little kid. Um, as far as like the talk box goes, to be more specific with the music that I follow and I admire. The talk box stood out the most because it's a very unique instrument, and requires a lot of hard work and dedication and some some talent to play the talk box. So, um, uh, growing up with different type of music, my dad loved the oldies, so it just meshed into one with the Little Rider oldies, the Zapp and Roger music, very very influential with the I guess you could say the Chicano culture. So um, yeah, I was introduced to Zapp and Roger at a young age.
That's cool. And how, like your name, our keys, and everything obviously has to do with the keys a little bit, and obviously like the talk box. Can you talk a little bit about more about that? Because it's interesting. Like I've never really dug in too much about like the fact that what you just said. I like that it's like a skill, because a lot of people assume like, oh, you just put it like the thing in your mouth and you just talk into it, and it's not. That's not what it is. So do you mind
Oh,
expanding a little bit on that? Because that I like that you said that
of
that
course.
not just anybody can
Yes.
do that.
Yeah. So, what do you want me to expand more first on the name,
As
how I
far as
got
like
it, or
yeah, like how you
okay? So the
mastered
name.
that craft, how you mastered the
So
craft of Talkbox, and then also
yeah,
like your R keys name. How the
yeah.
name came about?
So believe it or not, uh, the hardest part, which is obviously when um, is you got to know how to play the piano, the keyboard. You got to know how to hit the right keys. So you're mimicking an actual singer. Everybody uses talkbox in different forms. You could one thing that I like to that I that I love about my talkbox style. It's unique in its own way. Um, I'll have different sounds in my talk box. You won't hear the same old sound, but as far as the talk box goes, you got to be able to hit the right keys. Um, you have to hold your breath. You're enunciating the words when you're like if you're talking, but without actually not, you're just enunciating the words. And then the tougher part, which it I always tell people practice before you even try to attempt to go on stage, is tube placement and holding the tube in place while you're performing, because the last thing you want is um, you're singing, you're performing, and you're doing this and it falls out, and you're holding your whole breath, and you have to play the right key. Um, so it's very it's very tough. And like I said, I actually did something that I'm gonna let you know. You're gonna be the first person to actually know this. The first time I
Okay.
actually did the talk box performance with I actually did I used some shades. So it gives the perception that I'm looking at the crowd, but I'm actually looking at the keyboard. So it helped me this past time when I was performing at U31. So like I said, I performed for the first time on a stage with shades. And it gave off like I was looking at the crowd, but I was literally
Yeah.
looking at the keyboard, making sure that I was on the right key. And and like I said, two placement when you're performing, you don't want and then it comes off. That's
Yeah.
you cannot have that. So you're practicing and you practice that two placement,
Yeah.
enunciating, um, and like I said, make sure the tube doesn't fall out. Um,
Yeah. That takes a
so
while
it's a
for
lot of
sure.
practice. Like I said the main one first is knowing how to play the piano. Uh,
Yeah.
Second, two placement, and a lot of criticism that comes with it, and it's not to take it personal. It's just to keep stepping up your game and getting better for each song that you do, um, um, because there are a lot of talk boxers out there. Um, uh, but I've been like a lot consistent and pushing that talk box, mainly because of the journey that I've been on and where I'm at right now in my career with music is it took off and I'm just nonstop promoting myself and nonstop hopping on features, working left and right. So, and as far as the name goes, that name. My cuñado helped me come out with that name. So the R stands for Rafael. My
Mm-hmm.
pop's name, my name that my dad gave me. Keys for the keyboard. The two Z's. Um, I'm very close with. I love the Zap band group. So the one Z is to dedicate them and honor them. The other Z is for another talk boxer, Fingers. So he also did a track with me when I first started. So it was just paying respects to the talk box family, the talk box world. So those are the two Z's, the R. So when you bring it all together, it just comes out as RKEYZZ. Um, so that's how that name got created. So you're the first person
That's
to
pretty
actually
cool.
you're the first person to actually know that of
Yeah.
how the
That's
concept of the
pretty cool.
name came out.
Yeah, because I always wondered, like, I always like asking that question because everybody has different meanings. Like, for instance, like, I can relate to you. I love that, like, you're paying homage to, like, yourself and also to your dad and also to the people that came before you that have opened the path, right? So for me, like,
Yeah,
that's what kind of brings me for, like, mine, 7 October. A lot of people think it's my birthday and it's not. It's like paying homage to my abuelita, which ironically, her name was Rafaela. So, like, I'm really like
nice.
your name, like, it resonates a lot with me just because it's like a homage to her, too, because she's the reason I fell in love with movies and music and she passed
Yeah,
away October 7th. So, and then October, I'm a huge horror fan, Halloween fan. 7 is
yeah, I
my
can see
favorite
that.
number. So when she passed away, it was like, what's a cool artist name? And then I was like, well, she passed away, but it's also like a favorite month and number, and it kind of
Yeah,
that's how it kind of came about. So it's kind of cool. I can
it's
resonate
awesome.
with your name. Uh, and how did you like begin to like as far as like learning? Because you're saying like all the stuff that the skills and the mastering of the craft, but like who taught you? Did you self teach yourself, or how did that happen?
As far as learning how to play the piano, uh, I have a person that taught me. His name's Hank Figs, and his son, like understanding how to read music and understanding. Um, and the son name is way ahead of his years. Is a stick man. Also, he plays all instruments. He helped me understand about the keys and whatnot. Um, but as far as the talk box itself, it it just came natural to me, and I didn't
Yeah,
have to practice the tube placement. When I heard songs growing up, I could hear what they were doing, but I didn't know what they were playing. But I knew what they were
yeah,
doing, and I saw it in my head. And every time I would play the songs. I was like, oh, I could do that. I could do this, and I could do that. And 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 that's it's just weird because it just came so natural how to enunciate without
yeah.
with without really being taught. if that makes any sense. So that was when
Yeah.
you show it to somebody, they're like, "How the fuck do you do that?" Excuse my language, but how do you do that? Or some people think that it's easy to placement. No, and then especially when you enunciate, some people are not. It's uh, they don't talk box with clarity, and you don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
So, like the whole like I always give a shout out to Henry Hank Figs, one of my producers that I work with, and his son, because there was a couple projects that I did need help, and they helped me with, hey, do it this, and let's add some of this, and sprinkle a little bit of that, and they would give me some insights, little secrets of like, hey, you should do it this way, and that just helped me establish myself and build off and carry what they taught me, and go in a direction of playing, doing songs, and understanding music on my own with their help. So I owe a lot to them. Really, it
Yeah.
helped me
Free
with
shout out
that.
to them. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. And we are talking about like right now, like where you're like, your career's is taking off. You've been putting in the work, but I'm saying like as far as like you've been doing features, you've been like on fire is what I would say, because you've been like releasing like I said consistency, and I think that's what matters a lot nowadays as far as to be like a successful, not just in a monetary way, but I think in a way of like working on your craft, and also like if you have your fans, your followers, your supporters, putting out consistently, that also keeps the traction going, right? So you currently
yeah,
have a single right now, Reminisce, right? If I'm not mistaken. And you have the music video for that one, right? And the song, is it
yeah,
out on streaming as well?
yeah. So that song, I dropped it last year, and I finally shot the video for this year.
Okay.
Taurus Visuals did the video for that. It took some pictures for us as well, some behind the scenes. Yeah. So with that song, like I said, I released it last year. Believe it or not, that I guess you could say that was like, I guess you could say, I guess RKEYZZ at that time was in his feelings at that time, and
Okay.
so if you hear that song, it doesn't sound like the other ones that I've done. So it's more laid back. I guess you could say a little bit sad, but
Yeah.
what I do love about that record, and like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I that's the way I saw it when I was creating that record. Um, the how I established that record. It was old Donna from Richie Valens meets Roger Troutman. So it was like I just had that concept of building it off those two
Yeah.
records, those two artists, Richie Valens and Roger Troutman. And I was just like, you know what, I want to do something like this, and create a song and just call it Reminisce, and just like O'Donnell, like he's thinking about he lost his girl, blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
and it's a badass record. And then you obviously fast forward, then the other records don't sound anything like that, because the other records,
More like upbeat. And yeah.
yes, correct. And another shout out to Loose Lyric and Loose Lyric Studios for recording those songs as well. And what you said right now was what I'm about to dive into, which is it's upbeat, up tempo. Um, because I just think that all of them, like my at the moment, those followers at the time, I guess they got like I felt like they were tired of my slow songs, and I had to
Mm,
transition and evolve and provide showcase a different skill. And I was put to the test, challenged myself, um, changed the flow. And literally, if you look at it, took like almost a whole year for me to come back with a slow song, and it literally just dropped today, called First Sight, or yesterday, uh, and that's a slow song. It's a
yeah.
lot slower to the other songs, San Diego, Summer Nights, and all I need is somewhat slow but still upbeat.
Hmm.
But literally a year later, I ended up doing First Sight, which is it's an amazing record. And again, it's I just wanted to get away, because I think my supporters were already they were tired of hearing that same old slow shit, and I had to evolve,
Yeah.
and it just happened naturally but I had to transition. I had to evolve as an artist, and I got stuck there.
Yeah, and I love that, and it shows, like you said, your versatility, like as an artist, because a lot of artists sometimes get stuck where they're like, I just want to do this type of record because that's what I'm comfortable. It's like the comfort zone.
Yeah,
But I love that because I didn't notice that, like, yeah, you had like slower, more like R&B ish type of vibe. And
yeah,
then now, like I said, like the records are more like summer, like party type of vibe, but not even just party. I think it's more like, I guess, like you said, the song that the reminisce is like a sad song, which for me, I didn't see it that way. I guess everybody interprets music differently. I do see what you mean, like as more like a down tempo one. But with the, like I said, all I need, I love San Diego. All of those have more of like a positive, I guess. Whereas like
yeah,
I think like music is one thing I've been talking to different artists, is like how music has a power of like kind of like magic spells, right? Where if you're feeling
yeah.
down and you listen to a sad song, it puts you in a sadder mood. If you're listening to something
Right,
upbeat, it puts you in like a positive mood, right? So I feel like
correct.
right now it also shows as far as like your journey too, like where you're at too. Not, I don't know if you see it that way, but that's how I kind of see it as like a fan and as a supporter. Is I can see like, oh wow, like he like found his like a different, like you said, pivoted to something different, and it also
Yeah.
shows like where you're at too, like mentally. And I could be wrong, but that's how I am
No,
interpreting it.
you are 100% right. I'm in a different, and I completely agree of what you said about interpreting music differently. Like I stated, reminisce. I was in a different place. I was in a different mindset. Um,
Yeah,
and now I'm not in that place anymore. Um, and I'm better for it, and it just shows. When I go in the studio, a different mindset. I'm positive. I'm not down. Uh, I'm thinking straight. I have a clearer mind. Um, and then um, you know people that I meet day in and day out, and people that the people that believe keeps me going. So um, the the biggest. I'm not sure if you have that on your agenda for items for to talk about. And maybe I don't want to rush it, but obviously
yeah,
my life changed with I Love San Diego. So I'm not sure if
yeah.
those are one of your items on the.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like that's the one that I said. Like that's where I saw like it take off. When that record
Yeah,
hit, even before it like blew up, I just like, it's one of those songs where you hear, like, I don't know if you've had this, but me as like a music lover, like sometimes I hear songs, like back when I would like listen to like albums before streaming, I would be like,
yeah,
that song is gonna be like the hit song out of that album, right? So when I heard that song, I was
yeah,
like, that song's gonna go like big, just because one, you have San Diego on there, and then the vibe of the song, and it's like, if you love San Diego, like a lot of us do,
yeah,
and then it was
yeah.
you're a Padres fan too, so I was like, this is it's gonna take off, and that's what it did, and it's a beautiful record, and that's what actually my next question is like, what inspired like that track, and maybe just your music in general, like what, like currently now, like what inspires you or what motivates you when you're writing a record.
For I Love San Diego, what inspired me, what got me with that record. Like I said, Rafa and RKEYZZ had to come together and accept our keys to evolve. And hearing for the first time I heard that beat when it was getting created, literally as we're in the studio, that beat's getting created. I was like, I'll be honest, I was like, damn, this is different, but I'm vibing with it. And I was like, and then like I said this in my last podcast, was when I first when I when I first did the intro to it, I freestyled it, and I just said, and I said it was it that's all I needed for it to be like, okay, this is gonna sound badass, because if you don't feel the music while you're in the studio, and you don't feel it in your, like me, if I don't feel it here, and if I don't feel it in my fingers when I'm playing the keyboard, then I'll step away from the record. And I was like, I can't invest if my mind and my heart is not into that track. And I let my fingers do the talking, literally on the keyboard. So when I did I love that little, that was it. That's all I know. Like, dude, that's it. That's what I needed for that record. And
Yeah,
um how I harmonized on that record was different to how I harmonized on the other records. Um and it was just such a natural flow that I fell in love with it. Um, and building that record, constructing from the from the ground up, um,
Yeah.
it was it took a while. Believe it did just that record took some time because I didn't want to rush that one. I just didn't want to rush that record, um, and like I would start dropping teasers. Believe it or not, I would even send that the rough. It was a rough mix with not even the
Mm-hmm.
second verse on it yet. I would send it to people. Hey, what do you think? What do you think? Oh, it sounds sick. It sounds sick. Okay, cool. And then I started having confidence. You know what? I'm gonna drop a little snippet sound. See what the people think.
Yeah.
Okay, some people were like, okay, it should sound sick. But then to me, I can't do a San Diego record without having my big brother on it. He's the stamp of San Diego, the voice of San Diego. Beto Perez, man,
Yeah.
Cali
Shout
Burrito.
out to him.
So
Yeah.
I was talking with him one night, and we were outside a wrestling show right here in Happy Days, and we were talking for a bit, and I asked him, I go, hey man, you know what? I think would you be down to drop my name? And it's like hell yeah, and and he was down, and to me. Beto has opened up a lot of doors for several artists in San Diego. He's plugged in a lot of local mom and pops shops in San Diego. He's a big supporter with of my nonprofit organization, the Grab and Go here in San Isidro, because we're both from San Isidro. Um,
Yeah.
so having that voice on that record, I was like, that's what brought the whole record together because I was like, he is San Diego. He put a lot of artists on and he put them on game, and he introduced certain artists to the market, to the business, and we owe a lot to him. So I was like, that I needed that on that record. Did I answer the was that the first question? Did I answer it? I kind of
Yeah,
drifted
yeah,
off into it, bro.
no, you're fine, and I wanted to add to that because yeah, like even hearing like that opening of him like shouting you out in that record for me is yeah, if you're from San Diego, like you know who Beto is, like you know like a radio personality, but like I said, he's opened doors for
Yeah,
a lot of San Diego artists, and so
yeah,
like you said like that stamp right there, and I know you guys are friends
yeah,
because from what I seen like when I follow you on Instagram, but I was like that was really dope. I thought like that's what made it even more for me. It's considered an iconic record, even though it's like a brand new one. Like I know it's gonna be one of those timeless songs,
yeah,
and I'm just
yeah.
saying it now, and I'll get the credit if when this like becomes old, I'm like I said it first,
You'll get the
but
credit. You'll get the credit.
because I believe it is like I'm not just saying it just because you're on here, but I really do believe that's like I when you shared it on Reels, it was one of those songs where you just had stuck in your head, and when you have, and in a good way, because there's some songs that
Yeah,
get stuck in your head, they're like annoying, but this one was like, oh shit,
yeah,
like, and I would just like be singing it in my back of my head, and I was like, okay, this is like a dope track. It's like it's catchy. So yeah,
yeah.
I love that how you like told the story of how that came about, and I think the second question was like, what inspires like or motivates your when you're creating new music, or like at least right now, like if you were in the
Right
studio right now,
now,
what's yeah.
Uh, s- I'm gonna go back with Summer Nights. Summer Nights. Um, Obviously, I wanted to pay homage to Little Rob and all the summer. I know we got a lot of
Yeah.
records called Summer Nights, um, but I just and obviously I name dropped Little Rob in the record, but I just wanted to release another upbeat record, and just uh, accepting again. Now that record, you could hear me say, of where I'm at and accepting where I'm at mentally and physically. So I was like, yeah, I fell off, but I'm back. I'm getting myself back on track. Um, and so I say that on the record. Um, um, and then and like I said with Summer Nights, um, um, it did really good. A lot of people still liked it. Um, uh, and like I said, I was talking more of a like you said, my journey of where I'm at in that record, rather than really like talking about like going out and like a summer theme actual song. Um, but it was just accepting where I was at mentally, um, um, and that record, that video, we shot it in 2 days. Unfortunately, a lot of people couldn't make it, so some shots that I did were in the day, and we had to go back at Petco in the following night to shoot it because obviously it's called Summer Nights. So, and that's the scene right there. I'm by myself, um,
Yeah.
and I had obviously because it's called Summer Nights. We're not gonna have day shots. We limited the day shots, and the shots that I had there was mainly because I had a lot of people show up. But you have Hank Figs right there, but that's my little nephew that plays the talk box, um,
That's cool.
and Viva's decoration. Denise, she's in the back. My cuñado Memo from Padre Life, um, and and yeah, it was just accepting and where I was at and moving forward. Summer Nights. That's what that record was mainly focused on. Um, and believe it or not, that's the first record that I used R keys on the talk box. So that way, people. I purposely did that to let people start using the push the hashtag of R keys on the talk box. That way it gets stuck in their head. And that I wanted people to have that. And I did that on another track that I just did, which was Take a Ride with MTO featuring Two Dank and myself. Um, and I did it again where I dropped my name, R keys on the talk box. Um, but as far as my records go, then came All I Need. All I Need, I fell in love with that record because I just switched up the talk box on that one as well. Um, and I was honestly, I was in a happy place when I was doing that record. I was in a very happy. I was energetic. I was alive. I was feeling myself, and I was smiling. I was laughing while I was doing that record. Um, and like I said, the in that record I did something different. I harmonized differently, so it sounds different to my other records. Um, and and slowly phasing out my my jerseys that I'm known for rocking on countless videos that I've been on already.
Oh yeah.
Kind of phasing out the jerseys um, because obviously I don't want to just think locally. I'm trying to think globally, and there's things that
Yeah.
I can't mention yet. Uh, but
Yeah.
there's a reason kind of I'm phased out the jerseys right now. And you're the I'm gonna say it like this. You're the first person to hear that.
Okay.
Uh, so um, and it um, and then like I said, I was really happy. I was very happy. Um, I was very happy doing that record. Um, and then the record that I just dropped yesterday, First Sight with KEYZZ. That record we've had about we have two records. One that I didn't want to release. It sounded awesome, but I just couldn't do it because I didn't want to. In that record, I do sound a lot like that MC Magic guy. I didn't want to sound like it for maybe writers. It sounded exactly like their stuff, um, and my flow is different. My flow doesn't really sound like his, but my talkbox did, and I just the record's it's amazing. It's an amazing record. I love it, but I just couldn't drop it. Um, and then I did First Sight. First Sight was a different record, mind you, at the beginning when I first came into the construction to that record. All First Sight, there was a different concept behind it, um, and then we restructured that one and build it from scratch. And um, once again, it was I was in a happy place, and that helped me uh, with doing the record. The hook is it's very simple, um, and like I said, this one I wanted more rap it to the ladies, and then I had KEYZZ hop on the record on this one as well. RKEYZZ is amazing. Um, we met back in March, I believe,
Okay.
and why I fell in love with her music and what she was doing. Believe it or not, the first time I met her was it was at a video preview for her video, middle of the night, and
Okay.
Taurus shot that video. Taurus Visuals shot that video as well. And when we met, well, actually before I met Kasia, Taurus had reached out to me and asked if I could do a talk box drop, and that's in that video you could hear Kasia's music. I did that drop for her, but I didn't know that they had a surprise for me.
Oh, I said talk
And
box. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
um, um, it's probably me. It's
Yes.
is it recording on mine or yours?
No, it's recording on mine, but it's weird that it says that about the storage.
Yeah,
Oh, I can always cut it, but yeah, we can keep going. I think because it's downloading on
yeah.
my cloud, but that's weird. I've never seen that before. Um,
Okay, probably. Um, and when they surprised me was when they dropped the video. She was using my talk box from the record that I did with Hypnotic called "Like the West," and and it was a pretty dope experience. And I was like, damn. I When she told me that she loved the talk box, um, uh, we started talking about more about music, and pretty much you fast forward. That sucks. That notification keeps popping up. Hopefully, it's not my phone.
okay.
But yeah, like I said, you fast forward. We ended up dropping First Sight, and we plan to shoot the video for that one next month. Um, wow, that's not cool. But yeah, I hope that answered the questions.
Yeah, yeah, no, I did, yeah. And I was gonna say too, like as you evolve, right? And we're talking about like even evolving like globally. Um, what would you say like as far as like you as an artist? Because I feel like you do a little bit of everything right now, and for you, like as far as the genre, right, that you're in, would
Yeah,
you say you're like a specific type of genre, or would you say you're a little bit open to like growing and not being boxed in? What would you say with like as far as where you place yourself?
open to growing, not boxed in. And to elaborate on that was even when I say about how I talk box, I don't want all my talk box sounds to sound the same because that will get the ear. There goes, oh, here comes the same old sound,
Yeah,
same old sound. Eventually, that will phase and get annoying. So
yeah,
every record, if you go back, they don't sound the same. It's like, oh,
yeah,
damn, it's a different sound. Oh, he's harmonizing different. Oh, he's doing this. It's not staying in the box. Growing as an artist, growing as an independent artist. So I never
yeah,
wanted to stay in the box. I always wanted to outgrow that box.
yeah. No, that's dope. I love that. And then kind of to talk about a little bit about like hip hop, right? Because I feel like talkbox is a big thing too. It's just not, and it's a little bit of every genre, I believe. Like we talked about Chicano
Yeah,
rap, we talk about too like Sapp and Rogers,
yeah.
which I feel like it was kind of also like R&B, soul. I don't know. It's like a little bit of everything, right? So for hip hop, I really like to ask this question, like if you or even not even just hip hop, but it may be hip hop or whatever you want to choose, either a hip hop album or top five talk box artists. Like, what would be your top five hip hop albums or your top five like talk box artists? Either or.
Let's go with Talkbox. Yeah, Talkbox. Obviously, Roger Troutman from Zap. And obviously, there's not too many, but obviously there's still a few. Um,
Yeah.
then you got Fingers. He's as close to Roger Troutman. He's crazy with the keyboard, crazy with the talkbox. Um, he has his own unique sound as well. And then you have MC Magic as well. He did another record. He did a record with me as well called Favorite Girl. And then you got Diamond Ortiz, Throwback Zach. Those are guys that came way before me, uh,
Yeah.
and they're still pushing their stuff out. And yeah, I mean there's a lot of people that play talkbox, but it's more people that take it serious in how they promote themselves. But to answer your question, those are the guys.
What's your like greatest fear? And I always like to ask this question because people take it in different ways. So like, what's your greatest fear? Do you think you've ever have you overcome it, or do you think you'll ever overcome it?
My biggest fear. Hmm. I don't have a fear.
You know, one.
I don't. I, I don't. And if I, it's just like an overall question, like a broad question. I don't have one. I don't have a fear. Um, and I'm telling you because the life I live and the life that I was given, I'm not even supposed to be here. So I live every day as it is my last. So, um, and this is something that I tell a lot of people that are close to me, and I'm telling you, I could have died at birth. So I always live this life as if it's my last day. So I don't really have any fear. If I was able to, I don't know how I did it, how I'm still here.
Yeah.
Don't know, but uh, life had different plans for me.
Yeah,
So
wow, that's deep. That's deep. But still, that's a big answer too. Great answer too. Because yeah, like that's even though you don't have a fear though, like, um, thank you for sharing that by the way, because I know it's like a vulnerable thing. Because I know we barely like are getting to know each other, but that's really deep that you said
right,
that. And right now, like as we're recording this for people that are listening, it's September, and I've just been hearing a lot. That's like the
yeah,
suicide prevention, right, as well too. So a lot of different things were like I just thought about that stuff too, like living every day, right, like it's your last, because it really is. And I think right now, like it's a lot of going on. Oh, and October's coming up too, so it's like a big month for me because of my grandparents. um so I can really relate
yeah,
to you on that about like not having certain fears. Sometimes I know I have, like, I think my worst fear would be like my family, like something happens to my family. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm kind of trying to learn, like I said, like living in the now and living it like it's the last day, because technically
right,
we are not guaranteed tomorrow. And I've been seeing a lot of people like that. A recent person that I knew that passed away, and it brought that perspective again, like, oh shit, like we're not really guaranteed. Like this might be the last time we talk to this person. So like, give them their flowers, or treat them like it's the last day you'll see them, because you just never know. Um, so thank you for sharing that, by the
right.
way. Um, and I kind
You're
of
welcome.
wanted to touch, and I think you kind of a little bit touched on this when we were talking about the I Love San Diego track. But to you,
Yeah,
what does San Diego mean to you? Like, what does it mean to represent it?
but it means to represent. I mean, it means everything. They, I've it's everything from the coming up as a kid, um, growing up in the hood, such a small, tight the community, friends, cousins that lived in the here where in the apartments that I grew up in, um, and then um, to where I'm at right now in my work career. I do have a 9 to 5, um, and I work for the city of San Diego. I'm not gonna really go it's specify where I'm at. I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to know where I work at. But um and one thing that makes me love San Diego and appreciate um when I started off with the city, I worked out of a recreation center right where I lived at. And coming up, I was proud of where I came from. And as I moved up the ladder and promoted, um, I started getting more involved with nonprofits, giving back to kids, families, doing food drives, toy drives during the holidays. Like I said, grab and go food drives, working with my nonprofit, then working with the county, um, and um, when I did that record, San Diego showed up for me. So it really made me appreciate all the good that I was giving back to the community. And so I'm very proud of where I'm from, or where I
Yeah.
came from, and I'm always going to say, like, I'm always going to be proud of San Diego because uh without them, I'm not here. And I say this every time I get an opportunity to interview, when they interview me and whatnot, a podcast. I'm nothing without San Diego. I'm nothing without the followers, the supporters on Instagram, on Facebook, um, and um, and one thing about that record is it's family friendly, it's kid
Yeah.
friendly. I'm not trying. I I'm not rapping about, but the bad stuff, whatnot. I'm it's a good vibe record, and
Mhm.
that's all I see in San Diego because I said it only takes one person to have a huge impact in a community that they live in. I'm in the process right now to start another for the holidays, a toy drive to get ready to give back. Not just here in San Isidro or San Diego, but even for the kids in right across the board in TJ. Um, and yeah, and I said I always pride myself in that I'm always going to be appreciative, and I say this countless posts every time I get a chance. Like, I'm nothing without San Diego. I'm nothing without the neighborhood, the people that I grew up with. They'll see me at nonprofit organization events, flag football events, and they would tell me, "Hey, you're doing good shit," and we're proud of you, and that keeps me going. That note, and when they play that record, or even when do I am proud to say that at least I've heard that song at least 3 times since it came out around the neighborhoods while I'm
That's
cruising
cool.
around. So for me to hear that in someone else's car, I say 3 times because that's all I've heard it, and I'm proud of
Yeah.
that. I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
and it makes me appreciate uh everything that, and I just like I said, everything I'm giving back to the community because growing up, it was rough for me and my family. So I know the struggles, I know the come up, and I'm very blessed to be in a situation where I'm at in my life. Not just in it goes bigger than music for me. It's everything that uh I have honor with, which is my work ethic in my 9 to 5. When I DJ, I give it all my all. I go into a different character, a whole different persona when I'm DJing,
Yeah.
but I put my heart into that stuff. And it makes me appreciate San Diego because San Diego always showed so much support for it.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I love that. And I love that you touched on the whole thing about like still juggling like a regular 9 to 5, but also like following your love for music because that's actually kind of I went into my segment into my next question because I kind of wanted to ask you like what advice do you give to creatives or artists that are doing a 9 to 5 and sometimes it gets hectic where you're like, man, the last thing I want to do is do work after I have to work, but in reality, like for me, the way and I'll kind of give you an example for me, because I work a regular 9 to 5 as well,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
creative thing is what feeds my soul, right? Like the job feeds the monetary set of like being able to afford to live in San Diego, but like what feeds my soul is the creative stuff that I
yeah,
do outside of work. And so for me, like I was like,
right,
if I have to wake up at 8 in the morning for a job that I don't really love, why am I not gonna do the same thing for actually something that I love and like still pull myself even though I'm like like tired as hell after I get off of work to like not do something that I really love. And so that's how I kind of motivate myself sometimes. For you, like what advice would you give to an artist like that that's kind of
yeah.
juggling both?
Um, prioritizing, prioritize and what 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 everything means to you. If you're juggling 5 things at once, 4 things, it doesn't matter. Uh, I I always tell people, and I say this proudly, it starts with your mindset of how you're going to tackle, how you're going to start the day. Not everybody starts off in a good mood. Not everybody starts off energetic. Not everybody starts off in a positive mindset, but we all do have a choice to make when we do wake up. I do wake up sometimes at 3:30 in the morning, 3:50. in AM every morning just to go through my thought process of my work stuff, my tasks that I got lined up for work, and I'm not even at work yet. It's just me going through my thought process, and then prioritizing my work checklist of what I need to get done, um, and um, what matters to you, and will get you to that will continue the drive. Mine is my family, um, and I always pride myself that, and mine is find something that's going to motivate you, inspire you, which is, and Eric, you know this because I've said this countless times, is my dad. My dad, my dad was a hardworking man, and he did everything possible for us um, when we were coming up. So I know the struggles, um, and like I said, it's just having the right mindset of what you're going to do to tackle that day. And it all starts off with that your first task, which what you're going to do for the day. How are you going to approach the day? Like I said, mind you, not every day I wake up in a good mood. Nobody does,
Yeah.
but I mean, not everybody wakes up. And it's up to you. Uh, we all have our mental struggles, our dailies. How you going to tackle it? If you need somebody to vent to, then you vent. You take an opportunity. It's okay not to be okay, and and like I said, I have my 9 to 5. I DJ. I don't burn myself out. I'm very like I'll DJ events here and there, private events. But um, my obviously where I'm at now is my dream is paying for itself. Everything that I worked for, I'm getting paid to do that stuff. So when you put everything in order, your work, um, your dreams, you turn your dreams to reality, and you start. Um, everybody has. I don't want to speak for everybody because everybody's going to have a different a response or yeah, a response to what I'm going to say, how I approach this. But you get paid to do what you love. It don't even become work no more. It's like, hey, you know what? That's why it fuels me to go do another feature, do talkbox, and just continue. And I mind you, I don't burn myself out, but it's just understanding how to balance everything,
Yeah.
and knowing what matters to you what matters the most to you at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, perfect. I agree with you on that as far as like you said, balance. Because for a while before I live life a little bit different. Like before I was like I had no sort of balance. Like I was burning myself out. But like you said, that's the important thing, like prioritizing and being organized. Because if you're not taking care of
Yes,
yourself, like physically and mentally and spiritually, then you're not
yes,
gonna be able to do all the things you
yes,
want to do. So yeah, I
right.
love that. And then the to end the question, I usually like to ask, what kind of legacy would you like to leave behind, either creatively or personally or both?
Um, to answer that, um, motivate, inspire the next generation. That's it. And many people that follow my journey, I don't call my fans. I don't like that word. To me, I don't like that. I just call my supporters my followers. Um, I introduced them to my little nephew. He was 9 years old when he started talk boxing. Um, he's 10 years old now. He sounds amazing. I never forced him to do that stuff. I still don't force him to do that. He practices on his own. Um, one thing that I have on my, I guess you could say, my will for my sister is
Hmm.
everything that I have on my keyboard is under his name. So, if he wants to continue, and um, where I leave off, or if I were to put down the talk box or whatnot,
Hmm.
is and it's just not just pertaining to music. It's just you could do anything you want in your life as long as you're willing to put in the work, and
Hmm.
don't ever forget where you came from, and don't forget about the people that support you, and most importantly, pay it forward, because that's always going to get you in good places. Even if you have a good heart, if you're humble and you're true to yourself, the rest will come to you. And you just have to be sincere to everyone and just continue practice what you're preaching. Let the youth know, the next generation to come, that there is hope. there is hope. There's positive. There's a bright light at the end for you to achieve anything you want as long as you're willing to work hard for it and mainly sacrifice a lot to get where you want to.
Yeah, I love that.
I hope
That
that
was
answered your
beautifully.
question.
Yeah, no, yeah, that did. It's a beautiful thing, and I love that you said that about your nephew. But because family's a big thing for me too, so that's beautiful. And I kind of like I said, want to I always give like the guests that I have on here their flowers because, like you said, it's like you never know when it's the last day, and also just because I rather give people's flowers while they're alive, not when they're already gone. So I just want to say like again, thank you
Yeah,
for taking the time to like talk to me and share part of your story and your journey. And like I said from the beginning, like
yeah,
it's inspiring to see like your growth and keep killing it. Like even if we don't like talk often, I'm like always here
yeah,
and there. I'm like watching some of the stuff. I'm like, damn, it's really dope. And just because you're being from San Diego too, and just like really dope to see like another like brown person like succeeding and following their dreams and just keep it
yeah.
coming and keep killing it. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.